fighter jet shoots down a flying object over Lake Huron, a pale humanoid creeps through someone's backyard in Kentucky, and a strange figure appears on a trail cam deep in the cursed woods of Redgate, Montana. These are more mysterious beings not from Earth caught on camera. This footage comes from the latest wave of UAP releases that have been all over the news recently. Back in February 2023, the US military scrambled a pair of F-16 fighter jets to check out a strange object flying 20,000 feet over Lake Huron, right along the border of Michigan and Canada. The government deemed it a hazard to civilian planes, and one of the jets fired a Sidewinder missile, blowing the thing completely out of the sky. For years, the public didn't get to see what actually happened up there. Thanks to the massive new batch of declassified government files, the Pentagon finally released the actual footage of the shootdown. The video is filmed in infrared and shows the fighter jet locking onto the object. When the missile hits, the Pentagon description says the object bursts apart in a radial displacement pattern, which is just a fancy way of saying the thing blew the hell up. At the time of the incident, officials described the target as an octagonal shape with strings dangling on. Looking at the newly released video, some experts say it looks a lot like a rogue weather balloon, but the audio recordings from the actual pilots inside the cockpit tells a different story. Right before the shootdown, you can hear one of the pilots say, "I wouldn't really call it a balloon, I don't know what. I can see it outside with my eyes." While the government recovered debris from the lake and claimed it wasn't a national security threat, the fact that they kept the footage locked away on a classified network for years does kinda say something. Alright, you want an alien being captured on camera? This is one of the clearest videos that you're gonna get. Clearly filmed at night, someone is hitting a patch of bushes with their flashlight, and it doesn't take long to realize why. Something is lurking in the brush. Bulbous head, big, pure black eyes. It looks like your classic gray. It stands there for a few moments staring out of the bushes before turning to the side and strolling further into the woods. Supposedly, this was recorded near the site of a UFO crash recovery operation. But as for where this was filmed or who was investigating, none of that info is available. Supposedly, this video was leaked by someone on the team investigating the crash, who chose not to be named. Yeah, it's pretty dubious, and it could definitely be a hoax, but this is some pretty clear footage, and you just don't get a lot of cryptid creature videos like this, let alone ones with aliens. So, if anything, I appreciate the boldness of it. What you're looking at here is footage of what would later be referred to as the Salford Alien. Back in January 2015, a clip dropped on YouTube that got the local community in Salford, UK really talking. It was uploaded by a channel called Paratruthers, and the video shows this pale, incredibly thin figure with a massive, oversized head. I guess walking around? I don't know, it's moving really strangely. The channel that posted it described it as being way too tall and skinny to be a regular human, with skin that looked wet, almost like a snake. They also claimed it was a specific rare type of tall, white-gray alien that had never been spotted in the UK before. And to add a bit of extra drama to the whole thing, the account claimed they were actually shut down by the government shortly after, though they never specified which government did it. Naturally, the internet did what it always does, and people split into two camps. Some who live in the area were genuinely freaked out by this. One person said the head looked completely creepy, it moved all weird, and that everyone down at the local pub was talking about it. It's not the only weird thing to happen in that part of England. The area actually has a bit of a history of this stuff, with over 20 UFO sightings reported over the years, including one person who called the Ministry of Defense claiming they saw 17 spaceships filled with little green aliens. This next one was caught near a home in Moorhead, Kentucky back in 2022. So there's this pale, human-like figure creeping around the back garden of a house. The creature looks super lanky and hunched over, moving with a really weird, unnatural gait. The clip's been shared all over the place, news sites have talked about it, yada yada. So as you can imagine, people have picked it apart. One of the things a lot of people brought up is the lighting, with one person commenting, "The question I have is this infrared? Because the pale creature would actually be dark colored if it were a dude in a black suit, showing up white in that case." Another thing people noticed right away is that the camera isn't steady, with someone asking if this was taken with a security camera, why is the camera moving like someone is holding it? Security cams are fixed and don't float around. But a local paranormal research firm jumped into the replies and explained exactly why that is, writing, "To answer why the camera is moving, you can see the reflection of the person recording this footage from their phone in the glass of the monitor. As to what it is, a recording degrade the quality of the original footage. No way to know what we're were seeing. This next one takes us back to May 2007 out in Metepec, Mexico. A rancher named Raul Lopez was checking out his barn when he found this tiny creature trapped in one of his animal traps. He panicked and ended up drowning the thing, and its body was eventually sold to a UFO researcher named Jaime Muzan. When you look at the photos of the carcass, it does look pretty freaky. It's small, skinny, and, well, alien looking, for lack of a better term. The story was a massive deal in the UFO and cryptid community for years. People were excited, believing this could be a real alien or some other kind of undiscovered creature. Scientists eventually ran DNA and medical tests on the body, including MRI scans, to figure out what they were actually looking at. But as you can imagine, the internet has totally picked this thing apart over the years, and the whole mystery eventually unraveled. Turns out the DNA test showed the creature was 100% a regular animal. Specifically, it was a skinned squirrel monkey. The rancher's nephew later confessed that he'd taken the dead monkey, removed its fur and skin, and placed it in the trap as a prank. And it worked, because I mean, damn, does that thing look creepy. This photo was taken on September 22nd, 2004, over in Mexico, and the story behind it is pretty interesting. A security guard was doing his regular night shift inside an abandoned office building. Around 10:45 p.m., he was walking down a dark hallway when he spotted something standing in the shadows. First, he squinted. He thought it was maybe a kid who'd snuck in, but as he got closer, he realized this short humanoid figure didn't look human at all. He managed to grab his old Kodak digital camera and snap a single picture before the thing bolted. He chased after it down the hall, but it completely vanished into thin air. Now, the internet is flooded with photos and videos of weird lights in the sky. This is one of the rare times someone claims to have caught an actual alien creature on camera. The quality is kinda rough, which makes sense for, a basic consumer digital camera from the mid-2000s, but the creature in the shot, it does look undeniably alien. It could easily be a hoax, but there are also a good number of people who seem to find this pretty convincing. The photo's been floating around the web for over 2 decades. Ever since it first hit the internet, people have been arguing about whether the story is real. Definitely helps that Mexico is already a massive hotbed for UFO activity. Fun fact, Montana ranks in the top 5 for the most UFO sightings per capita. There's a specific area known as Redgate near a town called Deer Lodge that is a massive hotspot. A local guy named Donald Bromley said, "It's just very rich in the paranormal field, like the UFOs, lights in the sky, unexplainable things," end quote. But the reason we're talking about Redgate right now is because of a crazy image Donald caught on his trail camera back in 2021. It snapped a picture of this pale humanoid figure walking through the woods. When Donald first looked at the photo, he thought it was just maybe a regular guy, but the details kind of threw him off. He said, "The first one to think it was a person, but the more I looked at it, it was just odd. It was out of place, and everything just matches the alien persona. The bigger bulbous head. You could tell it has no clothes. It's kind of a transparent being," end quote. The whole area has this really heavy history. A filmmaker named Patrick Cutler, who'd researched the spot, said the name Redgate actually comes from a horrific local legend, saying, quote, "Basically there was a guy who had a farm or homestead and came home one day from work and basically unalived his entire family and painted their gate red with their BLOOD, end quote. Ever since then, the area's been a bit of a magnet for what researchers call high strangeness. Cutler mentioned that people driving around the area will see bizarre things fly across the sky, or cars will just completely stall out for no reason, stuff like that. Finally though, we have a very bizarre piece of footage captured in India. Jharkhand, a group of bikers were riding down a dark road late at night and they noticed a strange figure walking along the side of the highway. The video quality is obviously kind of rough, but you could still clearly see the shape of this thing. The figure looks pale, incredibly thin, and it moves in this stiff, unnatural way. At one point it turns its head toward the bikers. Its eyes seem to glow with this yellowish color in the dark. After the clip started spreading online, a lot of viewers began saying the figure looked almost alien-like. Nobody really knows what the bikers actually recorded that night, but whatever it was, it is not the kind of thing I'd ever want to run into in the middle of a desolate road at night. That has been the video for today, and I will catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next one.